What is going on, everybody? What's up, Mr. Luke?
What's going on? Go ahead and let everyone in.
That's what my little girl calls Luke, by the way. Mr. Luke.
Mr. Luke.
Or Uncle Luke sometimes.
Hey, I like that one too.
Recording in progress.
Are you able to?
Yeah, it accidentally muted you too, though.
Come on now. Probably wouldn't
Hey,
be able
welcome
to.
everybody. Hello.
All right. By the way, if you're in a spot you can do it, I do love to watch facial reactions and stuff. So if you want to turn your camera on, that'd be super. You don't have to, but I do every once in a while. I'll say something, and if you want to nod or thumbs up, thumbs down, that'd be great. For those of you that are hanging out in the bathroom or something at home, they'll obviously keep your camera off. There we go, popping up. I like it. I like to see who I'm talking to. We're gonna wait a couple minutes here. While we're waiting, though, hey, put a 1 in chat if you feel like ChatGPT is like brand new to you. You have no idea what it is. How many of you guys are in here that really just have no idea what all this thing does or what it can do? Put a 2 in there, by the way, if you feel like you do have a pretty good idea of what it is. Just get an idea of. Perfect.
Got some familiar.
Yep.
Some that are familiar with it.
I like it. Good deal. John Oliver introduced me to it. Well, good job, John. All right. Looks like you still got some people rolling in. Looks like. By the way, if you hopped in the last minute or two, if you want, I love it when people turn their camera on so I can see who I'm talking to, get some good feedback, head nods, or like, whoa, what the hell? I do kind of keep an eye on y'all's faces and what you're doing. So if you don't mind, turn your camera on. It'd be great. Again, if you're driving, if you're doing something, don't worry about it. Not the end of the world. All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and get started, Luke.
All right, I'm going to share my screen and then you can let me know if you see it.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Well, first of all, I would love if we can get everyone's attention here while you're here. We're gonna, we say it's 45 minutes. Just kind of depends on how if we get great questions. Sometimes it can slow it down a little bit. If you guys are a shy crowd, this could end up being more like 30, 35 minutes. So, but I would ask that you, turn your phone off, get off social media, because what we're going to go over here in the next, 45 minutes or so is really going to help your business grow. And by the way, I know we've got some people, 2 different kinds of industries within like those of us that serve seniors. Put a 5 in the chat if you guys are associated with like a home health company or a home care, and put a 7 in the chat if you're like part of a senior living community type company. Well, let's see what kind of split we've got here. Okay, yeah, 5 and 7. Welcome to the party, Jenna. Okay, so pretty evenly split.
Cool.
Okay, not surprising. We have serviced both, especially on the hiring side of things. So that's great. You guys are in the right spot. Okay, so what are we going to go over today? Well, first of all, I'm going to give you a quick little intro into who we are. What is ChatGPT for those of you that are kind of still learning about what all it is, what it does. And then we're going to give you some tips and tricks of how you can use it to generate more applicants with quality candidates, how it can save you a ton of time. We're going to give you a few things that like literally by the end of the day today, you can like run with it and implement some of this stuff, right? And then also we're going to show you some kind of advanced tools how can you take GPT and integrate it into some of your CRMs and some of your other systems and processes that really take the power of GPT and kind of just put it on steroids, right? So the manual GPT stuff is fun. It's cool. It's kind of addicting for a lot of people. But how can you plug that in with automation? And we're going to show you that in a new product that we've built as well. So these are the two offerings that we have. All of this is under our company name is Senior Living Pros. We originally started with working with exclusively in senior living communities. In a very short amount of time, though, we had home health companies saying, "Hey, can you do this for us?" And we said, "Let us see." And yes, we absolutely could. So we have these two different tools: Hire Faster, which is what most of you on this call are interested in today. This is a fantastic way to make your processes much quicker, smoother, more efficient, and easy to hire people faster, right? So it's kind of in the name. The Move-In Machine was our original offering. That was more for the marketing side, where we can increase engagement on your website and then turn those leads into actual tours. What happened about a year and a half ago is we had a lot of people that were like, "Man, this is great, but we're so short staffed, we can't even serve anyone right now," whether that's home health or the other. And so we said, well, why don't you treat hiring like you treat marketing, right? Let's build a funnel, build a system, build outreach methods, and different tools that have a steady flow of applicants coming in. And so that's what we built. So these are the two things that we do. I think we're pretty good at it. Here's a few of our partners that have said, "Hey, this is why you should listen to Dallas and Luke." So Chad said, "Hire Faster helped me hire 15 caregivers in less than 1 month." Jessica Wood said they hired 8 high quality team members in 2 weeks, thanks to Hire Faster. Butch Cassidy said they've had a massive increase in the number of people who are actually showing up for an interview because of Hire Faster, which, by the way, put a 1 in chat if you have a big no-show problem. You're getting applicants coming in, but they're not showing up for interviews. Let's see some 1s in chat if that's a problem for you.
Multiple ones.
Yeah. Shannon Joyce says our hiring managers don't have to check their phones 24/7 because Hire Faster connects or contacts every applicant in 2 minutes. That's a big piece of this, by the way, of what makes this tool work, is that speed to lead is what we call it in the marketing world, really is critical in hiring now as well. And I'll tell you some stories about that too. Scott Levitt, another one, he said more people are showing up to his interviews because of Hire Faster. And Christina Hart said they're 100% staffed thanks to Hire Faster as well. They opened up a new location and they had to fill a ton of jobs. We helped them fill it. So what we do works, right? We know that it works because we've done this now for a ton of partners. So let's talk about AI, right? It's ChatGPT. Put a 1 in chat now if the thought of artificial intelligence just like makes you freak out, right? Like you're like, "Oh, I don't want to give up control. I don't want to, the machines scare me." Put a 1 if the thought of automation just kind of scares you. Put a 2 if you're not scared at all, by the way. How many people are just not scared at all? You've embraced it. You love it. You just want to make it better.
I'll put in a 2.
All right.
There
I
we
like
go.
it. All right.
Cool.
Sweet. You are my people. 1.5. Way to be honest there. The nails. All right. So for those of you that are new to the ChatGPT world, here is some basic stuff to kind of understand of what this is. So there's a few different terms that you might hear that are similar. They're somewhat interchangeable, but artificial intelligence is basically just when computers are programmed to do the things that take more human intelligence, right? They can actually recognize speech. It can help make decisions. It can solve some problems at the basic level. And really all it is teaching machines to learn from data that you provided, right? And then the beauty of this, not quite yet. No, go back to that. The beauty of this is, how many of you have employees that you feel like you tell them the same thing 5 times and they never change? Put a 5 in the chat. If you've got employees that you tell them 10 times, "Hey, I need you to do it this way. I need you to do it this way." And they never do it, right? I mean, hell, even all of us are guilty of it at some point. My wife probably would put a 5 in the chat for me right now. She tells me to do something the same way. Yeah, I'm just got a lot of things going on. So this is the beauty of AI, and what ChatGPT does is, if it does mess up, you tell it one time, hey, don't say it that way, say it this way, and it's good to go, right? You never have to correct it again. Okay, go ahead to that next one. So ChatGPT is an AI language model, right? That can really communicate in a very natural, human-like way, right? Just like we are. And it's been trained on so much data and so many different algorithms that it really can generate responses in a very, very human-like manner. Okay. Go ahead, Luke. Yeah, and so machine learning, this is what we've taken from ChatGPT and kind of added another layer on it, is where you can do images, you can do entire PDFs, right? So for those of you, if you said, hey, we want to load our stuff in here, great. Send me all the PDFs that have accurate information about your company. Send me your website links. We're gonna teach the machine based on your website and your PDFs and your brochures and everything you want it to know in a matter of minutes, right? And if you've got training manuals, anything you want to upload into this tool, it can be very specific for your company. And that's where we're going with this. Go ahead, Luke. So how do we know this is a big deal? Well, all you got to do is look at what big tech is doing. And you see a lot of stuff coming out of Google where they're trying to say that, like, oh, this, it doesn't always work. And the reason that they're saying those kind of things is that they got caught with their pants at their ankles, right? Like Google got beat to the punch on this by Open API. And this is going to be as big or bigger of a shift to tech than it was when Google first started. I really believe that. I think that the implications for this, we can sit here and I could talk for an hour about what the implications are for this. But the truth is, we don't even know. We have no idea, right? There's some that are kind of scary for society. But I believe, like anything else, if you talk to people back when computers were first starting, it was going to destroy, jobs and stuff. It just creates different kind of jobs, right? And so I think that you're going to see a huge wave of opportunity for people who know how to tell the computer what to do, right? So go ahead. So is it going to change everything in hiring? Well, here's a few examples of some of the ways this is going to make the user experience better on your website, right? So here's a chat widget for an example that says, okay, so we asked the very, very popular chat widget. We asked them, what are your job benefits? And it kind of breaks it, right? It says, hey, it sounds like you're interested in learning how to, about working here. Click continue, and it sends them down this maze of never ending waste of time, right? And so if you have someone who's interested in working with you, they get in this little thing and they might click once, they might click twice, and then they're gone, right? And they could have been one of the greatest qualified candidates you ever had. Whereas now with ChatGPT built in, this is an example of our tool. What are the job benefits? It actually answers their question, right? Hey, our benefits include health insurance, paid time off, retirement savings, whatever it is. It can be specific to your community. It can be specific to your company, to a particular job. All of that's very, very programmable, very, very quickly. Here's another one as well. What open jobs do you have? This is one that our partners get asked all the time. And I'm so excited that we can upgrade what we've been doing, because it's all been pretty similar. Like, well, what are you interested in? It takes them to a website that shows them open jobs, which is not terrible. But if we can continue that dialogue, instead of saying, hey, to learn more about careers, click continue, and then hopefully they go to a page, best case scenario, where they're actually are updating the open jobs. That's about 50-50 probably at best. Whereas this one, would say, what open jobs do you have? Hey, look, they sometimes change. These are the ones we usually have. You can ask it, are you interested in a particular type position? and it can read and know, yes, we have that available at our Houston location, or we have that available in our, Dallas location, whatever the case may be. And really kind of engage them more. Does that make sense? Let's see a 1 in the chat if you're following all this, if this is all good. Awesome. Very good. So here's a few ways that and some of you may have played with this and you already know how to do this, but we're going to show you a few simple things to do kind of manually. How to copy and paste that. Well, we're going to show you how to copy and paste, but you can copy and paste the entire brochures, like I talked about, your website, your social media posts. You can say, hey, go back and read all my social media posts. You can put in any sort of text you have from a brochure or from anything else and say, hey, rewrite this for a third grader can understand it, right? So it can take your writing and make it, more simplified. Have it rewrite job descriptions. This to me is one thing I've seen our partners that can really slow them down is just getting the job description written, right? What this can do is not take that out of the equation, right? I have ChatGPT write job posts for me all the time. I'll give it a skim and make a few changes if I want to, but instead of me having to sit in front of that white screen of death and start it from scratch, boom, it gives me a great starting point. You can also have it assess a candidate against a particular job post. So you can have it read the resumes and kind of score it for you. All that stuff are things that we've built in. Copy and paste reviews for and get a reply. So if someone leaves you a scathing review for your company, put it in here and say, hey, how would you reply to this? Again, you don't have to copy and paste it, but it's going to give you something to go from and be like, oh man, that's really good. And I will tell you that these are, I've hired people and had people work for me that this was their whole job was to like reply to reviews. And this is better than any of them that I've ever worked with. Right. Again, you may have to make some little tweaks, but in terms of getting it out and getting it done quickly, it's really, really good. So Luke, do you want to kind of show a couple of those things?
Yep, I can go ahead and pull up ChatGPT on my screen, and I will share that with everybody.
Oh, well, he's opening that up. Let's see a 2 in the chat if this is helpful. If you're digging this.
All right. So I am here in ChatGPT, and before I get started on this, I do want to say, if you've ever tried to use ChatGPT, you may have come across a verbiage that says, hey, our servers are slammed. We're as soon as we can get some availability, we'll open it back up to you soon. In case that's ever the case for you, I want to share this link with you in the chat. This is called the ChatGPT Playground. It's never been down for me. So if you ever go to ChatGPT and it's down, try that link that I just put in the chat. That's the ChatGPT Playground. It is OpenAI. It's created by the same company, but there are just some slight differences in the responses that it will give you. But from what I've seen, it really does work well. So I'm going to just put a couple of examples here in ChatGPT. If there's something that you want me to put in that you're curious about, like a question, like we had one call where someone said, hey, can you have ChatGPT write a letter for me about, we have to raise our rates for our residents. So, and it spit out a very well-written letter. So if there's anything you're thinking of that you want to see how this would respond, I'd love to see that. So let's go ahead and say, write a job description for a caregiver position for a care home. All right, so you can see, this is spitting out a pretty typical job description for a caregiver. Chances are this looks very similar to what you see on your Indeed posts, on your Facebook posts. it's a job description, but it's just kind of a little bland. And so what we found with ChatGPT is if you give it the right keywords, you'll get more out of it. So I'm going to say, rewrite this post, but make it engaging, and let's just leave it at engaging and see what it does. So you can see it's kind of taken it more from just like a matter of fact job description and actually written it to where I might be interested in this job. And so it's kind of putting it into more of, more vivid, I think kind of a more vivid description. So now we can say, rewrite it, but add some emojis. It's very popular with a Facebook job. If you're putting something on Facebook using emojis. Now, when you tell ChatGPT to use emojis, it takes it from 0 to maybe too many. So always be kind of aware of that. Is there anyone listening that you've got something you're curious if ChatGPT, what it could spit out for you?
You can just type it in chat, or you can unmute yourself and pipe in if there's anything else you guys want to try.
So, I mean, you can do anything. You can say, hey, maybe I'm new. I need to write a job benefits book for my care home. And so it's going to give you a full outline. And then, what you can do from here is, because ChatGPT remembers your conversation, you can say, okay, go ahead and write the brief overview. And you can have it write your entire job benefits book. So we've got a couple. So how to retain caregivers, great question. So let's say,
I would just ask
run,
yeah.
I run a care home, but my caregiver team members are leaving. So
there's a shocker. Offer competitive pay.
Yeah, offer competitive pay. Yeah. And so maybe, maybe one of these is like a referral program. It might come up at some point. So, you could say, hey, help me develop my referral program.
But I mean, this is great stuff though, right? Those 5 things. I mean, if you're struggling to keep them, that's a great place to start.
So someone else, Kira Franklin said, what about social media captions? And so it remembered what it just wrote about trying to retain caregivers. And so when I put in what about social media captions, it puts both of those thoughts together. And so it's going to spit out these social media captions. So I could tell it to produce 5 more, 10 more. I mean, the possibilities for this really are endless. So, I mean, you can tell it to write things in a humorous way, in a serious way, professional way. You can say, hey, rewrite this with a little more empathy. Before we leave this ChatGPT, does anyone else have anything you want to see? Dallas, anything come to mind that you want everyone here to see?
No, man, I think that's great. I mean, I think to me is playing around in this on a manual level, probably before you try to automate anything, so you have an idea of how it can really work, right? And even when it gives you a response, you say, hey, great, can you make this funny? Hey, can you make this a little more academic, right? Whatever you want, you can just reply to it and it will spit it back out. So yeah, I think this is a great, there you go. I mean, I like that. Right. If you're going to send a message for rehires of past people, all that stuff is just great. And again, I'm not by no means am I saying take this and just copy and paste it and let it run and do its thing. Right. But if that letter got spit out to you in less than 10 seconds, and then now you're going to spend 5 minutes editing it and send it out, you just save yourself at least an hour or two. Right. Like that to me is what ChatGPT can do for you. There you go. Right. Rewrite it with some humor. After this, we'll
spell humor.
Lucky for you, Luke, ChatGPT can typically correct spelling for you. They'll figure out just how much smarter they are than we are. So
Yeah, I mean it's
You got-
much more
yeah.
lighthearted.
yeah, I mean, I think you guys get the gist of that, right? So now how do you take this and automate it into review responses, right? How many of you guys put a 4 in the chat if you're replying to your reviews on Glassdoor and Indeed and Google and all that? Put a 3 if you're not. If you're not replying to those, put a 3. But if you are replying to those, put a 4. That's a lot of time and energy spent doing that, right? And for those of you that are not doing it, you're probably not doing it because you just don't have time, right? But addressing the negative reviews and thanking people for the positive reviews, especially on hiring, like marketers have been doing this for years. But when I go through and I look at Indeed reviews and I look at Glassdoor reviews and stuff, like it's just there's not a lot of responses. Along those lines, by the way, take some time and get people to leave reviews on Indeed and Glassdoor and all that kind of stuff, especially Indeed. Though, if you're running job posts, this is unrelated, just a quick little tangent. We've had multiple people that, they put job posts on Indeed, and we go and we look, and they've got 4 reviews and they got like a 2.4, and then they wonder why no one's applying to their job. Well, people are looking at that, right? Even though they've got hundreds or thousands of happy employees. So just a quick little aside, take the time to have a campaign, emails and text messages to your current employees, especially if you have a way to segment out who you know are your happy employees, and just send them a text message, ask them to leave a review. So, okay, how can you automate this into your reviews? We literally can connect this to your Indeed, to your ZipRecruiter, to your Glassdoor, to your Google, and anytime someone leaves a review, it can reply to that review for you. So if it's a negative review, oh man, these people, they don't care about their workers, and it's a worthless company. It can generate a review for that kind of turns it a little bit and says, hey, we can always improve, or whatever it is, right? You can train the machine to do it. You can also, Luke, do you want to pull up the demo website and
Yep.
show the little chat widget? Because this is another one too. We built this again for a partner who is getting a lot of questions on their main chat widget that was related to employment, and no one ever had the job to reply to them. And so people would come in and message asking questions about their open jobs or whatever, and no one was ever replying. And so it just went to Never Land, right? Yeah, you can go ahead, Luke, and kind of walk through that. So this is just we call it a quick apply. They can also live chat. Let's start with live chat. Actually, that's probably makes more sense. So, let's just say, you can ask them about what jobs are open or whatever you want to do, Luke. It can give them live information, like what's actively available and whatnot, right? And then if they are, let's say yes. Let's say yes, I'm interested in caregiver. So then, you can add stuff like that. Like, we're having an open house for our filling jobs, whatever. But you really train it to do whatever. And this is not like a old search keyword. Hey, the word apply is in there, so they send them to this. This is actually going to have a conversation with them, right? We get this a lot. That's a good one, Luke. They want to reschedule. There you go. So all of this can be built out as far as like a live chat, and then the quick apply. This has been really helpful for a lot of our partners as well. You can have it actively show just the open positions, and again, this is all within that chat widget. They answer a few questions, and if they answer everything the way that you want, then it'll schedule to, or it'll send them to schedule an actual next step. So if you want the next step to be a phone call, if you want the next step to be an in-person interview, whatever you want to be, it doesn't matter. But they can schedule that with a calendar that syncs to the hiring director or the supervisor, whoever that job post is going to meet with. It syncs with their calendar, and then, you book it. So super easy. So again, automate those review responses, automate the replies to your chat widget. And then also, if you have text messaging set up, then it can reply through text messaging as well, right? So that is probably the number one function that we see through our partners is once they apply, we want to start that conversation, right? So we're going to get them texting. If they reply with questions, we can have the machine reply. If it gets stuck, right? We always get this question. Well, what happens if they ask a question that they doesn't know? Then we tell them, hey, you know what? That's a great question. Let me reach out to Luke, and I'll get back to you. Simple as that, right? And then we reach out, get the answer, and then get back to them. So any questions about any of that? That all pretty easy to understand. So great. All right. Looks like no questions. So if this is something that you would like for, us to help your team get this thing going, instead of, don't wait your turn when it comes to everyone trying to get ChatGPT set up. We literally have built out everything that you need to get this working immediately. If you want to go on the next page there, Luke. So, when we set up our package, we're going to connect it to all of your job listings with Indeed, your website, ZipRecruiter, wherever they're coming in from. And the first thing we're going to do is set it up to initiate that conversation in the first 2 minutes with a text message, right? Ask them any questions you want to further qualify them, and then we want to schedule them on a call, whatever the next step is, right? Also, re-engage previously employed personnel, right? So we run these campaigns where you give us a list of past employees that you would like to hire back if they were interested, and we're going to use this automation to sift through that list, find the ones who are interested, and get them scheduled for a call with you. Again, automatically qualify the applicants through the text message chats, schedule the next step, whether that's a call, interview, whatever. Also, once we get them scheduled, this is really big. So we're talking about the no-shows, right? Number one is we do things like send them videos as part of the follow-up process that gets them excited about the opportunity, right? Imagine if you had one of your employees on video saying, man, I've done this for 15 years, or I've done this for 5 years, or I've done this for several years or whatever. And I've never worked for a company like this. They take care of us, blah, 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 right? When the applicant gets a video sent to them like that, guess if they're more likely or less likely to show up for their interview, right? We even one of the scripts it will help them with too is, hey, get them to say after they give them their testimonial about working for your company, like, hey man, if you got offered an interview, dude, you don't want to miss this, right? This is a great opportunity. The energy and the language that we use in talking to these candidates makes a huge difference, right? And then the other thing too is just reminders, text message reminders about the interviews make a huge difference. And by the way, exponential difference between email reminders and text message reminders, right? Email reminders to show up for interview, you might as well send them a carrier pigeon, right? It ain't going to matter. They're not going to see it. They're not going to open it. It does not matter. It goes into all the other crap in their lives. Text message reminders, they actually see it. Now, I can go on and on about how it drives me crazy just personally that we have to remind people to show up for a job interview because, that my thing is like, hey, if you don't show up, I don't really want you on the team. But the job market's crazy, right? We got to have people to care for these seniors. And so if these little things can help get them to show up and get them into your company, we're thrilled that this works. So so this whole thing that we do is typically $297 a month. I will tell you we're adding in the ChatGPT components for free for right now, right? So if this is something that you want to get going, there is not going to be any additional charges to add the ChatGPT into what we've already built. The other thing that we're doing now is, in addition to having like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and stuff, is we are now targeting people directly and more proactively using Facebook ads, not Facebook jobs. Facebook jobs, I've never gotten any good results from it. Never known anyone that got any good results from it. When you're working it manually, but running some Facebook ads and targeting, other health, hospitals and other health related businesses like that, doctors' offices, clinics, all that kind of stuff. In addition to taking the data that we have and creating custom lists, really does a couple things, right? We want to target candidates before they even look for jobs. And what we find, and we've only been doing this part of it now for a couple months, but what we're finding is that the numbers coming in might be a little bit lower, but they're way more qualified, because what we're getting is we're going after the people who still have a job. They're just not real happy in it, and they haven't started looking yet, rather than piles of applications from people who have been out of work for whatever reason for a long time and may or may not be the most dedicated employee, right? And so this is something that we're implementing with a lot of our partners these days. And so what we typically do is it's $300 a month per job title for us to manage these ads, optimize the ads, run all that for you. What we're going to do for the rest of the month of March, if you schedule the call in the next week, that's enough time for us to get this in. But we're going to do 1 free month of Facebook ad management for 1 job title for you, right? So if you want to get set up with the Hire Faster tools and the ChatGPT tools, schedule a call in the next week, and we're going to get you the 1 free month of Facebook ad management for any job title you want. So for your caregivers, your CNAs, your whatever it is that you're looking for, we'll do this for free for you for a month. So I can go back to the testimonial slides if you want, but this system works, and adding in the ChatGPT and adding in the Facebook ads is just taking it all to a whole nother level. So with that is, everything in a nutshell. I will say this: we have another webinar coming up on April 19th. We're going to really dig into Indeed, some tips, tricks, and hacks to get more applications, more interviews, and more hires from Indeed. So put that on your calendar if you want to join us. But what questions do you have? Fire them in chat. If you want to unmute yourself and have a little chat here, we can do that as well. But I'm curious if, what kind of questions you guys have.
Well, they're thinking of questions. I do. If there's one tip I can share where we've really seen a big increase in people like actually showing up for their interviews, is including a GIF in your text message, reminders to them. So a GIF of the actual hiring manager who's going to be giving them the interview. If you include their face, just saying hey and waving, you'll really start to see more people showing up, because they immediately feel a more personal connection with that. Yep. So just wanted to share that.
And I will add on there too, as far as like the speed to lead concept on hiring. So one of the, I forgot to go in this story a while ago, but one of my favorite stories from any partner we worked with, they were really struggling to hire CNAs at this community. And maybe the second week we were active with them, they were able to hire 6 CNAs. And one of those CNAs, she was on the website on our Indeed or whatever on a Monday. We scheduled an interview with her in less than 10 minutes. She came in for her interview on Tuesday. They hired her. And when she was in the office on Wednesday or Thursday doing like some new hire paperwork, she answered a phone call, and it was one of their competitors. And the hiring manager literally listened to her call, and she was like, hey, yeah, no, thanks for calling, but I already took a job, blah, 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 blah. Right. That speed is the reason why. right? Like it is competitive. And so if you don't have some automation in place to get them scheduled, I will also tell you this, the data that we've tracked so far is if you can get them in for an interview or a first call or whatever your next step is, if you can get actual meeting with them, whether it's in person or on the phone, doesn't matter. Within 72 hours of them applying, they're 6 times as likely to show up. Beyond that, it drops drastically. And really what we're aiming for now is the first 48 hours. So, you know, if they apply on a Wednesday, I want them on the phone or in the office by the end of the day on Friday. Right. Like that's just that's what the math and then looking at the data makes a huge difference. So, all right. Well, if there's no more questions, then I know Luke shared the link there. If you want to schedule a call with me, that link is right there. It's just go.hirefaster.io/schedule. We can send out an email to you as well. This is recorded, so if you want to watch it again, you want to skim through it, we'll send an email. I think Luke, you're going to send an email out, right, with the link for them to watch it. So if you want to share with anybody, but yeah, get that call booked in the next week and through next week, and we'll do that Facebook promo for you for free as well. So, all right, y'all have a great rest of your day. And again, thanks for joining us. If you have any other questions, shoot us an email, shoot us a text. You can go to hirefaster.io or hirefaster.io and